Good morning. Happy Tuesday, or as I like to call it, New Floor Day. Waiting for my guys to come now, which will be followed by Painter Guy, along with Tile Man. Okay, remodeling's coming along. So, I decided to use my Barbara Moore deck. If you did not watch yesterday's reading, I suggest you do. I used my transparent deck. I find that the messages are a little bit different than when I use standard tarot. You can put your comments below how you feel about those. Um, they're different, that's all I could say is they're different. It, triggers a different kind of response when I'm reading them. So, but let's see what the cards say. Let's get into it because my guys are coming any minute. Should put it back a little bit. Hold on. I had to move stuff out of the kitchen, and yeah, it's just, you know what? It's almost done. Another couple of weeks, and you know what? I'll be putting this all behind me. Alrighty. Five of Wands. Conflict. But usually when I get the Five of Wands, I don't always take it as other people arguing. I always take it as conflict within yourself. I feel like you take on a lot of different roles in your life, and we all do. We're parents. We're parents. We are children. If our parents are still alive, we're friends. We're employees. We're TikTok creators. We take on a lot of different roles. That's all I could say. And I feel like some of you are struggling maybe with one of the roles that you're taking on, and you're not really sure how to handle this. And, we have that. I always call it the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. Like, which way should you go in a certain situation? And you kind of struggle, and you really never come to a practical answer. You just kind of go in this circle, and you never really get your answer, and you never really figure something out, and before you know it, time has passed. And I always say, this is fire season. These are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and we are in Leo season. Okay, so I'm going to go with romance. So maybe you're struggling, or someone else is struggling with emotions they have for you. Okay, people do that all the time. They're like, no, he's not for me, or she's not for me, or no, I couldn't possibly, blah, blah, blah. Quick backstory. So when I met my ex-husband, I was 21, I believe. And we worked together at a Ford dealership. I was just looking at what that said. And that's how we met. And I remember he was divorced. He was 25. He was already divorced, and he had a small child. And I said, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, he's really, I don't know if I want to get involved with that. Because I was only 21 years old. What the hell did I know? And I'll never forget my friend who I was working with at the time. She said, oh, just go out with him. She goes, it's not like you're going to marry the guy. Well, from her lips to God's ears, 22-year marriage and 3 children later, it wasn't as bad as I anticipated it. But I think there's somebody, if it's not you, it's somebody, I don't want to use the word concerned about you, but somebody with you that is struggling. Maybe there's a distance between the two of you, different culture, race, whatever the case may be. People, they look at everything, they nitpick, as I did. I nitpicked, you know what I'm saying? And then look what happened. So I think that you're struggling with something in the romantic department. And it's funny because usually the Two of Cups is a perfect partner for you. Usually it's a perfect partner. You're both on board with the same things. You both kind of want the same things. And I think, you'll give up the struggle at some point, or they will. Now, they could be involved with someone else, and that is why you're having this struggle, which is good because you should have the struggle. Third parties are not fun. Trust me. I was in one Doesn't matter which side you're on, they are not fun and they're not productive. And I always tell the story, about my dad. He left my mom. I was like 6 or 7 years old. He was, I believe, 34, and he left her for his like 19-year-old secretary. So, they stayed married though forever until he passed away 20 something years ago. But it's still, you know, they're difficult. So that could be what you struggle over. You know, somebody could still be involved with someone else. They don't have to be married, and you're struggling over that. Do you get involved with this person? Even though you may think that they're about to end that. So judgment talks about things from the past. We thought these people were dead, and all of a sudden they're waking up. You're like, damn, we thought you were dead. And it's kind of like that's what's coming your way. So maybe you have somebody. Nobody's going to like this reading, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yeah, I think we're out of Mercury in retrograde, but I don't care. It still happens. You got somebody coming back. Yes, you do. From the past who wants to get involved, but they're already involved with someone else, and you're fighting it tooth and nail. So years ago, when I first started dating, when I became single after my 22-year marriage to the guy I didn't want to marry, um, I met this person, and we went out, and he was very transparent, which I appreciate. I really do appreciate. And he was with somebody. He was dating somebody, okay? And he had said to me that he really wanted to get to know me better. He would love to date me, but basically, he didn't want to end it with her till he knew I was in. I swear to God, you can't make this shit up. I don't know what goes on in people's heads. And well, yeah, I do. The scary part. And I said, so let me get this straight. You're looking to test drive me, right? Until you decide if you want to trade in the old model. So, anywho, needless to say, did not happen. So I just think that with the Three of Swords, a struggle, the Love card, the Two of Cups, and Judgment, I think you could have an opportunity with someone from the past who's still involved with someone else, and they kind of show up in your path at some point, and they may still want to see where this is going to go and see if you're still interested. Because, in fairness, though, I will say this: the person has not stopped thinking about you. They do care about you. So they probably will reveal some feelings to you that you just are going to be very shocked at. So you will think about it because you have the Five of Wands, and you will contemplate, is it worth it? Where could it go? They may give you false hope, and just do what's best for you. That's what I say. Do what's best for you. All right, everyone, getting ready for Floor Man. All right, it's Tuesday. This is Coffee and Tarot time. I am the Queen of Wands. Everyone, have a great day.